ready to chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks. Welcome to ChuggieBets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the ChuggieBets podcast. I'm Andy. I am joined today by Al, Matt, and the Taxman Danny. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, all that good stuff. And before we get into it, we're all going to chug a beer to pay off any lost debts we have from last week. So, cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Southampton's still trash, but apparently so is Chelsea.
They sure are.
All right. So
Trash without a coach.
So Al won his Chuggy bet last week with the Oklahoma over. So congrats, bud. You have a Chuggy to hand out at any point during the pod today. Just go ahead and call that out. And we'll let you kick off with thoughts. Anything that you took away from last week that you want to chat about?
Yeah, so Miami beat Bethune-Cookman by like 70 points. I'm all in on the Miami hype train. I'm going to take them in the over against any non-SEC team because the ACC is weird. Isn't that right, Matt?
Yeah, my takeaway last week is the ACC is drunk. Look, why are legacy teams going on the road? We talked about it last week. Old Dominion put it to Virginia Tech. NC State rarely made it out alive. And App State scored 40 friggin' points in the fourth quarter and lost that game. What is the ACC doing? Oh, also, I guess SEC teams can't kick extra points and field goals, so Florida State wins a game in New Orleans. What the hell is going on in the ACC? That's my takeaway. Danny, you got anything?
Well, we all know that the Big Ten is boring-ass football. They run and they punt, and they run and they punt. But we learned a new word or a new phrase this week, an Iowa touchdown, which is my new favorite thing. It's the field goal and two safeties. That's how we should call it a Big Ten touchdown, to be honest. But yeah, the Iowa touchdown.
That's hard.
I honestly don't even know if it was like better that it finished 7-3 or if 5-3 would have been better. But I think I'm leaning with 7-3.
7-3. No, 7-3 is way better. The Iowa touchdown. It's so great. Yeah. I can't wait for another team to get an Iowa touchdown and everybody go crazy about it.
It'll be Iowa this week.
Against Iowa State.
All right, awesome, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into the games. No Thursday night games in college this week. We will have an NFL pod out a little bit later, so if you're looking for a game for Thursday night, check out that. But jump into Friday. The first game we have a play on is Louisville at UCF. Danny, why don't you tell us what you got on that one?
I got Louisville +7. I think I got 7 and the hook. Yeah, I think I mentioned a couple times last week, I really enjoy betting against my friends, and I had a lot of friends go to UCF. So that's a big reason why I like to bet Louisville here. I think UCF's, a lot of people are on them thinking that they can score a lot of points, but they've lost their coaches that got them to score a lot of points. They've lost their quarterbacks that got them to score a lot of points. No more Mackenzie Milton, no more Dylan Gabriel. No more, I can't remember the coaches' names, but the OU quarterback that's now in Tennessee and
Heupel.
And the guy in Nebraska now that just is, God, I can't believe Frost hasn't gotten fired yet. But yeah, they're all gone. So I don't know what UCF has left. I mean, maybe one like athletes are coming in or something, but I just don't think they have anything left. I think Louisville had a couple of chances to score last week and they didn't near the goal line. They got held up a couple of times. So I think that people are down on Louisville because they were bad last year, but I think they've improved. I think people are still high on UCF's offenses, even though they're not good anymore. So that's why I'm taking Louisville plus the touchdown, and I think I got the hook as well.
I think to tag along on that thought, Danny, Malik Cunningham at Louisville is really good. He played really badly last week. Syracuse has a bit of a weird defense. I think that tripped him up. So I don't think he's going to have 2 bad games in a row. Couple that with a UCF team that did put up 56 last week. So they can still put up points, even if it's not the same people doing it. It's got all the makings of a shootout for me. And I think the number's 61.5. So it's high, but I don't know. It'll be fun rooting for an over.
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm with you on the over 61.5. Here, look, Did you know Louisville had 4 red zone possessions last week, and they came out with 7 points? Really, 1.75 points a possession in the red zone. I don't think that'll continue. They looked bad. Louisville looked legitimately bad, but I don't think they're as bad as they looked. I think they caught in a weird game, and sometimes things get weird on the road in Syracuse. They don't have air conditioning in that place, even though it was named after an air conditioning company for like 50 years. It's a bananas place. It makes no sense. But I believe Louisville will be able to score.
They have carrier AC in it.
That makes sense. And they just never repaired it. But I think that
can you tell there's some dads on this podcast making jokes?
I think Louisville will be able to score against a meh UCF defense, and I think John Rice Plumlee impressed a lot of people at UCF last week. He's super athletic. It's going to be 2 incredibly athletic quarterbacks going at it. This has over written all over it. I love the over.
I like the over too. I really like Louisville plus 7.5. So I like the touchdown and the hook.
I don't have a play on it, but I do just want to comment. Al said that UCF scored 56 last week, and he's right. But they played South Carolina State. I think Louisville is going to be a little bit of a step up, just in terms of the athletes on the field.
Maybe not on defense, though. Maybe not on defense. Louisville recruits hard from South Florida, but all the guys they get play offense up there. So they're getting wide receivers and quarterbacks to play.
And I'd be willing to guess that UCF's offense is probably better than Syracuse for what it's worth. And if Syracuse put up 28, I think that number may go a little bit north of there.
I mean, I like your guys playing the over. I'm sticking with mine, though. All right.
Yeah.
That brings us to Al again.
Yeah. We got a QB controversy in Boise, gentlemen. The Fighting Hank Bachmeier might have been a one-hit wonder. So that game, a lot of us, or at least I was on Boise State. That sort of made him or broke my week last week.
To be fair, Al, I was against Oregon State more than I was on Boise. Oregon State more than I was on Boise.
Yeah, I mean, Hank Bachmeier, I think he played the first quarter or less than the whole quarter, turned the ball over 3 times, and Boise was in a hole to begin with. They brought in the backup, Taylon Green. The guy cannot throw the ball well, but he's got legs. He had a 74-yard rushing touchdown. And so they're trying to decide which quarterback's going to start this week. I think competition breeds excellence. So despite all of that, and you can tail me or fade me, but I'm laying the points with Boise State, minus 17 against New Mexico, I believe. So I think they're going to get their offense on track. They looked a lot better as the game went on. If the freshman starts, I think he can, play calm against a worse opponent with a little experience under his belt now. If Bachmeier comes back, he'll come back strong, knowing he's got someone nipping at the heels. So that's the play. Boise minus 17.
I looked hard at this game, and I didn't see it under the 17, which is why I didn't play it. I just think that those half points matter a lot of the time. So I'm constantly losing on the hooks, man. So if it got to minus 16.5, I'll probably play it.
I mean, my thought is I think Boise hits like close to 50 in this one, and so the question is, you think New Mexico's going to put up mid-20s, 30, higher than that? I don't know.
It's a good chance. I think New Mexico really sucks. I'm with you. I think New Mexico really sucks.
The total's only 44. So if you feel like that, Al, you should be hammering that over.
Well,
but can New Mexico score enough, right, in order to make it interesting? Because you're going to probably rely on it.
This game could easily be 24-0 because New Mexico could just put up a stinker and put up 0. So
I don't know much about Boise State's defense, but it may be worth eyeballing the New Mexico team total in that too. I don't know what the number is. I don't know if it's 10 or.
I have not been able to see college team totals. I've only
not this early in the week. They've been showing up for me on Friday night.
Or Friday.
Yeah, because there's a couple team total unders I like this week that I couldn't find the number on, so I don't have plays on them. But since we're on the topic,
Bovada last week,
and Georgia State. So
Bovada last week never gave me the line on the Miami game at all. So I left some money on the table there. I should have found another book.
Let's see. What do we got next?
Let's move on to the next game. Andy, I think that's you,
Andy,
right? With
Andy and Danny are on.
So I think Matt and I are both on the same play here. UTSA and Army. Both of these teams lost last week. UTSA lost to a good Houston team in overtime. They lost by 2, which means they covered, which is all I care about. Sorry, guys. I know some of you are on the other side. And then Army lost by 10 to Coastal. I actually had this game as a coin flip on a neutral field, which means playing in West Point. I think Army should be favored. So if you're going to give me points with the team that I think should be favored, I'm definitely taking that. It might not be a bad idea to wait and see if this number gets to 3, because I think it's definitely possible. And then the difference between a 2 and a 2.5 is way less important than the difference between a 2.5 and a 3. So it might not hurt to wait. And this is probably something that's going to show up in my money line round robin as well. So, Matt, did you have similar thoughts?
Yeah, man. When you go, UTSA is a really good team, and they played a really passionate game. Outside of a bad 2-point conversion play, they could still be playing that game right now. It was great, really evenly matched. I think there's nothing worse than playing a high-flying game and then going to play a military academy on the road. Because you know you're going to get optioned to death. You're going to get chop blocked to death.
I don't know.
Legs are going to be taken out. Look,
dude, Army threw a lot last week, man. They threw like 13, 14, 15 times, something like that. Completed a bunch of passes. That was different. It was a different Army team. I told you about this. I forget his name. I can't think of it. Charleston or Richardson or something like that. He's an athlete. He's an athlete and he can play. He's better than the usual Army quarterback.
Oh, I agree. I think that's why I'm taking Army, even though UTSA is really good. To all the same points that Andy says, this is just a terrible conflict of style to what they just played against Houston. It seems like a nightmare game, and it's unfortunate because UTSA is too good to be 0-2. But I think the likelihood is Army wins this game, so it's worth taking the +2.5. And if you can find a +3, take the +3.
It's a good +2.5. I will say I'm really bad with names, but I am the tax man in this busy season, and I just cannot. I don't have time to take notes. I will have better notes for the next podcast, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you for names this week again.
We got you.
We got a big game at noon, right? If you're not watching UTSA Army, you're probably sitting down watching Bama go on the road to Austin, Texas. I know we got a couple plays there. Al, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, Saban came out firing, talking about how, everyone talks about Saban's former assistants and how he's done against them. He's talking about how Bama has the same issues. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think Texas is out of their element. It's Bama, man. This isn't, Oklahoma. It's not Oklahoma State. It's Bama. Bama's gonna roll. I'll lay. I don't know what the number is. I would lay it.
20.5.
20.5. But I mean, you could add a touchdown to that. I'd still lay it. I don't know if Texas scores 20 points.
This is the second week in a row where Bama was just under the hook on a touchdown line. It was 40.5 or 41.5 last week, and I like that number, and it covered. This week they're looking at Texas, and I actually would have played this number at 27.5, to be honest, because I watch a lot of Texas football. Both my parents went to the University of Texas, and they raised me liking Texas and Miami football because we live in Miami, and they went to Texas. And man, Texas, so often in this game will come in and everybody will hype them up because it's Texas football and they used to be good, but Vince Young ain't walking through that door, man. He's just not. And
they got a pretty good quarterback in Quinn Ewers. He was projected to be the top one. I'm with you, but I don't think he's.
Listen, every quarterback that's ever played at Texas was projected to be the top quarterback.
Yep. But there's been one Vince Young there, and they just he's not. I'm telling you, he's not walking through the door. Who are the best quarterbacks that have played there? It was him and
Colt
the
McCoy.
guy. Colt McCoy played in the NFL as a backup for like 100 years.
He took him to a national championship.
He sure did.
He did take him to a national championship.
He got hurt. That's not his fault.
Yeah.
Was
there an Edelman there? I don't know. They've had a bunch of little white guys play quarterback for him. It's hard to.
certainly not taking the other side, right? I'm not laying the points.
Oh no, I think you have to be incredibly brave. You have to be very brave to go be like, yeah, Texas has got it. I mean, there's only one play, and it's Alabama. It's Alabama or stay away. And if you haven't seen Quinn Ewers' hair, oh boys and girls, everyone listening, do yourself a favor. He's got.
Oh my! You have to see this hair. This guy should be playing Aussie rules football. What is he doing?
He's gorgeous.
Oh,
gorgeous.
I might have to change. I might have to switch my pick. That. Oh my God. He looks like a cross between like a Velveteen Rabbit, a Swiffer, and Joe Dirt.
There's a lot of Joe Dirt in there.
Yeah.
He's got a little Bailey Smith to him without the curl. He's got a little Bailey Smith to him without the curls.
So now that we've gotten Texas and Alabama and the handsome Quinn Ewers hair, let's go somewhere way more boring to Northwestern versus Duke. We got two blue bloods. By blue bloods, I mean very smart and incredibly boring styles of football.
All right, I just want to say before you guys get into your picks here, why do you want to make more interest in this game? Why do you guys want to watch this game? Why do you want interest in this game? There must be some sort of value here that you guys see, because I do not want to watch this game at all. I do not want to know anything about this game.
Look, I mean, I don't know if you want to lead it off, Andy, but actually, let me go. So I was leaning the under on this game, and I was thinking I was going to take the under. And then I looked up, Duke's got a pretty good quarterback. And, Northwestern, this is prime letdown spot for Northwestern, coming off a big win as a dog against Nebraska in Ireland. And now here they are against a Duke squad that they're probably expecting to lay down. Northwestern's not very good, despite beating Nebraska, who's also not very good. Duke's got the better quarterback, and they're getting 10 points. I don't know. Hard to sell to get me off of that one.
Yeah, Al, I'm with you completely. Northwestern got a ton of press for their win against Nebraska in week 0, and then they didn't play last week, right? So it's been 2 weeks of hearing nothing but Northwestern won, Northwestern won, Northwestern won. And what people forget is Northwestern didn't win. Nebraska handed it to them, right? Nebraska had 2 separate 11-point leads, both of which they blew, one on a really stupid onside kick call. Northwestern should have lost that game. And I think 2 weeks of them being hyped up has inflated this line. Now, in fairness, the Northwestern, their quarterback, Ryan Helinski, looks like the best quarterback that Northwestern has had in a really long time. I think he had 314 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. But this is still not a good team. I think their win total coming into the year is 3.5. They shouldn't be laying 10 points with anybody. So I'm taking Duke. I'm taking the points. And, yeah, you're right. It does kind of stink. Alabama and Texas would be way more fun to watch. But winning money is fun, too. So
yeah.
You can also win money on the Alabama-Texas game. Just take Alabama, lay the points.
I'm laying points in more games this week than I normally do, but 21, 20 and a half is a lot. So
if it gets to 21, still lay them all the way to 27 and a half.
I'm on a good number of favorites and not very many dogs, but there are a lot of dogs I like to win outright, even though I'm not betting them. So I don't know if that really makes sense. But Duke's one that I really like. When I was looking at that under, the reason I was thinking the under is you've got, that one was, I think, 56.5, and that's 8 touchdowns, and you're still in the clear. And I just didn't think those two teams were going to be able to combine for 8 touchdowns. But I thought, after looking at it, I thought Duke plus 10 is better play. But another game with 8 touchdown total that I don't think two teams are going to touch is Missouri and Kansas State. So that's my next play, is the under in Missouri, Kansas State. 8 touchdowns, Big 12 teams that, it just feels like the kind of game that is just going to be like 13-6 at halftime. You might get a touchdown in the second half, but it's like, it's never going to sniff 56. So
I don't have a play in this one now, but I usually skip the Big 12 unders.
Yeah. What about when it's Kansas State?
That does change things. Kansas State does change things. I'm just throwing out a general rule.
Yeah.
I'll take them if they're there and I want them, but and generally skip the Big 12 unders. And
Yeah.
I don't want to watch that game either. You guys are betting some boring ass games.
Yeah, I mean the next game that
this is a good one. The next one's a good one. The next one's a good one. You're on this one too, Al?
Although UNC has a history of making boring games interesting. So
no, this UNC Georgia State game is going to be a good one because UNC is going to score a ton of points and give up a ton of points. I don't know why nobody picked the over in this one. I'm going to bet the over in this one. I don't know what the number is.
Oh,
it's got to be 1,000.
I'm eyeballing the over. I think it's 67 right now.
It's high.
64.5.
64.5. It's probably a good play.
I'm on it. I'm logging in and placing it right now.
Dude, UNC looks like a wagon on offense.
I am not placing a bet right now. Actually, I'm sitting in the Bahamas, just so you guys know.
Phil Longo's teams score. I think I've said this in the third straight week. They score, and they score a lot of points. And North Carolina's offense has looked great. But do you know who the defensive coordinator is at North Carolina? It's Gene Chizik, right? Very promised background. But it's like he resurrected from the dead just to shit on defense. Just to make a mockery of the defensive side of the football. They're atrocious on defense. I'm taking Georgia State. They've been progressively getting better year over year. Look, they may not have a great throwing quarterback, but they run the ball, and they kind of dominated the box against South Carolina last week. They got beat. They got beat pretty handily, but they played pretty well inside. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I have 7.5. If it gets to 6.5, I do not like it, but I think it's worthwhile to 7 to 7.5 to play it plus money. I just think North Carolina is going to give up too many opportunities. And until Gene Chizik pulls his head out of his ass and puts on a headset and calls defensive plays right, I'm going to keep fading. I'm going to bet North Carolina to score a lot of points, and I don't think they're going to do much on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I took UNC in this one, and I had it at 7, but if it's available at 6.5, even better. Obviously it reeks of a trap line, right? It's just, why is UNC only favored by 7? It's Georgia State. It's not App State. It's not Virginia Tech. It's fucking Georgia State. I'm laying the points. Give me UNC. It's a trap. I'm falling into it anyway.
Fair enough. Now we look at the next game. That's the battle between borders. And by the borders, I mean North Carolina and Tennessee. And I'm not talking about the good schools. I'm talking about the smart schools. We got Wake Forest. We got Vanderbilt. Battle of the nerds. I think, Andy, you got something here, right?
I did.
Battle of the gold and black.
I bet Wake Forest -8 before the I'm blanking now. Sam
Hartman.
Hartman. I kept wanting to say Sam Howell. I knew that was right. Before the Sam Hartman news came out.
How do you feel about Sam Howell, Matt?
I hate him.
I think the line now is like 12.5 or 13 in most places. I don't know that I can necessarily play it there. You guys watch more ACC football than I do. Is Sam Hartman worth 5 points to the line?
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. He's fading Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I think so, actually, yeah.
He's pretty damn good. I don't know what the injury is, right? And because of HIPAA and everything else, they've been very quiet about it. I don't know if there's going to be an adjustment period. That's my only fear. If I knew this was
clot in like a serious vein.
Oh, really? I didn't know that they released that. But
yeah, that's what I saw somewhere. I don't know. So maybe it's not right. Not a doctor. But,
if we got good Sam Hartman and those wide
news reporters here.
We got the good wide receiver. I cannot remember his name for Wake Forest. It's like A.T. Perry. Sounds like the singer. They're really good. They've got a very dynamic offense. Look, they were in the ACC championship game last year, which is an atrocity. But they were in the ACC championship game last year. That's how well this Wake Forest team plays with Sam Hartman.
Yeah, it's a different team with him under center for sure.
Yeah, and I was also
I think I texted you guys earlier. I think I even still like it at 13.5, but I'm not going to play it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they win by a lot.
I don't know. That Vandy Hawaii game's been scaring me. So I looked at it hard, and I know Hawaii's bad because they got steamrolled again. But
Western Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah, so I know Hawaii's really bad, but I'm scared. Vandy put up like 65 points on them. That's even a bad team. Like putting up 65. Like Miami's pretty good this year, and we put up one more touchdown than that on Bethune-Cookman. So
Matt or Danny, sorry, you're gonna feel a lot better about fading Vandy after this week. So you should try and tune into that one.
Yeah, and then
I won't be able to tune in because I'm going to be at the next game we're talking about. All right, I will be there in the parking lot, tailgating at 8 a.m. with my entire family, making eggs, drinking mimosas. Well, they'll be drinking mimosas. I'll be drinking Busch Lights. I will bring the grill. I will bring the girls. The daughters will be there with their little tiny picnic table. It's going to be awesome. Miami versus Southern Miss. Yeah. And I will wait for the line that they never gave me last week, and I'm betting the Miami team over again because for some reason I don't trust our defense because we gave up like 13 points to Bethune-Cookman, and we really shouldn't have. They scored a touchdown against us like in the first quarter. Really should not have happened.
Yeah, it looked kind of like hairy in the first quarter, and then I looked up and we had like 5 points. And it was like
yeah. So we were playing very well. The second quarter and the second half were great. Our team is very good. It turns out the quarterback that Tyler Van Dyke replaced that we all wanted to start last year before he got hurt is also good. he came in and played well. Garcia, Van Dyke just he commands the field, man. He looks like a really good quarterback. I'm really excited for this.
I think it's scary. The most positive thing I took away from that game is that, and granted it's Bethune-Cookman, right? So we'll see how it goes this week. But the running game is so powerful that you don't have to rely on TBD's skill set, even though he's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. So,
he drops back, he makes the right choice, and he throws it. He throws it with authority to the right player, and the only place where he can catch it. It's he's. So I like watching. I like watching him a lot.
Just to be clear, I am on the over at 56. I feel like that's a low number for Miami, and I'm going to take Miami late points in Miami. Minus 25 is what I got it at, but I don't know if it's going to move from there.
A couple things to note before you start taking those lines. Frank Gore Jr. is the running back coming down to Miami for Southern Miss, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that means shit, but Dad will probably be in the crowd. He'll probably be very, very excited, and I'm sure Frank Gore is going to want to show out. What does that mean?
I will guarantee you Dad will be wearing orange and green.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Frank Gore's going to have a Southern Miss hat on like that.
Frank Gore will be wearing the turnover chain. Frank Gore will be wearing the turnover chain, and he will be moving 3 yards at a time down the field.
I'll tell you what, I never heard 2 scarier words followed by a very unscary word in my life. Frank Gore Jr.
He's not bad, boys. He really isn't bad, as a heads up. But also, I think there's a potential for Miami to treat this like a look-ahead game.
We have a game to look ahead to. That's a good point.
That's my point.
A&M next week's a big game.
Exactly.
It's a season maker game. It's a season maker game for us. So yeah.
I think you may turn off the gas a little bit early in that game, and I could see this game getting closer to 24, right? That's my only fear. Yeah. I think you're going to win by plenty, but I can see you guys being like, all right, let's rest everyone. We got to go face the fighting Jimbos next week. And speaking of the fighting Jimbos, I'm going to take a weird line here. Everyone's really excited about App State, right? App State's going into College Station, super excited. I think the play here is under 54, and here's my reasoning. Texas A&M's defense is awesome, super good, and I think they're really loaded. They're one of the better sides. They may be the second best defense in the SEC West, which may not be saying a ton, but say they're the second or third best in the whole conference if you take Georgia in there. But give me 1 second. Their defense is really good. And I don't know if Haynes King is good, and I don't know if Jimbo's going to die on a Haynes King cross. It's probably not worth it. That dude has thrown more picks in his limited time playing, and if there's one thing Jimbo hates, it's interceptions and good hair, but interceptions mostly. So I think the interesting
he's not a fan of Quinn Ewers.
No. Oh, I wish. He would love Quinn Ewers. I think the interesting play is Texas A&M, very similarly, may look ahead to Miami. They may rest people in the second half of that game, and I think turn the gas off. But I think Texas A&M is loaded on defense. This ain't North Carolina at home. You're playing Texas A&M.
A&M was underwhelming in their game. So if they come out flat and they don't look that great this week, I think it's ripe for the picking for Miami.
You're literally looking ahead right now. That's what.
I am literally looking ahead. That is correct.
And even if they didn't look impressive, they still won 31-0, and I'm focusing on the nothing. I think App State's going to be better than Sam Houston State that they played, and I think it could be a really interesting game.
I think that's good analysis, Matto. I think that's a good analysis.
And I realized I just skipped a couple games. I'm going to go back to the 1 o'clock window where we got USA, America's team, and I mean South Alabama.
I love USA. I love betting on USA. I can't believe you're fading USA, Andy. Tell us about why are you fading USA?
Versus Central Michigan. What you got, Andy?
So both of these teams lost last week, but South Alabama got crushed by Nicholls State, while Central Michigan lost to Oklahoma State by 2 touchdowns. By comparison, losing to Oklahoma State by 2 touchdowns is a great game compared to getting stomped by Nicholls State. So I think that's skewing the line. Plus Central Michigan's week 1 game was on Thursday night, so they got an extra 3 days to prepare. I think between those two things, this number should be north of 10. So if I can get it anything less than a touchdown, it was like 4.5 or 5 today, laying it with Central Michigan. I'm taking it.
I actually like that line a lot. I haven't really evaluated deep into the USA lines, but I think Central Michigan would be much better than Southern Alabama just on name value, right?
Yeah.
I'm not betting against USA. I'm not betting against USA.
Yeah, I'm more with Danny. I thought about taking the points here, but I think more interesting.
You didn't because it's not a big enough number.
South Alabama on the money line, yeah. There's like 10 teams I like on the money line, round robins with dogs, and like some of them I like more than others, but this one's a little further down the list, but it's a contender.
So I think we all have a play on the next one? The 3:30 not Lane Kiffin game. The former Lane Kiffin. Former Lane Kiffin. Yeah. I'm still living back in the 2000.
That's quite a few stops ago.
Yeah. We got Narduzzi, which is this is a style matchup. We got Narduzzi in the blue corner doing anything, just blocking punches. We got Heupel in the other corner just throwing haymakers literally the whole game. So it's going to be a fun matchup.
Even when Heupel runs the ball, he's trying to score a touchdown. And even when Pitt throws the ball, they're trying to run the ball.
I'm just gonna get it off my chest early here. I'm on the over. I know Danny hates the over.
Why would you bet the over in a Pitt game ever? And it's like 60-something points. Why would you bet the over in a Pitt game?
Danny, how many UCF overs have you bet in the past 3 years?
All of them. A lot. Every one.
Yeah. Their coach, I don't know if you're aware of this. They coach Heupel coaches the Tennessee now.
I bet some Tennessee overs last year because of that.
I also think even though Pitt runs the ball, they run the ball well and they can still put up points. And so I think put the two teams together in prime time, 65.5, big number, but I don't know. I think it'll be fun to see if they get there.
Did you watch any of the Pitt West Virginia game? It just felt like every time Pitt was starting to do something good, the dudes just came in and was like, "Nope, we're gonna play old school Big Ten style football."
I agree with you, Danny. The difference is Slovis averaged 15 yards a completion, and they're going to have easier completions this week because Tennessee doesn't play defense.
No,
that's my only argument there. He's going to Narduzzi. He's going to try. He's going to try to Narduzzi you and just plant his feet in the ground and stop the game, right? But he's like, just have the clock run while they don't do anything interesting. But I'm leaning with Al here.
So Tennessee is not great at stopping other teams from scoring points, but a lot of that comes from the pace they play on offense and their defense getting tired. It's not because their defense doesn't have athletes. So I mean, they have pass rusher. They have
again
with the names. I can't remember any of them. I know they have a good pass rusher on the edge because I don't think he went to the NFL last year. So I don't think Pitt's going to score a whole lot of points, and I don't think that we're going to get to the over 66. I don't. That's my opinion here.
Yeah. So what's your play then, Danny?
The under.
On the under.
Yeah,
so you're on the under. I'm on the over, and then Andy and Matt, you guys like Pitt?
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I liked it. I got it at +7, and I really like it at +7. It's kind of leaned. I think it's down to 6. I don't know if you see a book anywhere that has it above 6, Andy. Maybe 6.5 or 7.
I see 6.5.
Tennessee loves playing one-score games, and they do it all the time because they wear themselves out so often. They'll score 1 billion points, and Pittsburgh's going to be good. They're going to be dog enough for this fight. I was impressed with Pittsburgh versus West Virginia. I think they played pretty well. I thought they played better than I expected when you lose someone of the quarterback's caliber from last year. I think Slovis also has a decent amount of skill. I think
they needed like 2 scores in the last 3.5 minutes to beat West Virginia, and West Virginia still covered. I'm just throwing that out there.
I understand, man. I understand. It's week 1, and it's a big rivalry game. And rivalry games, the stats are always weird, right? You're playing Tennessee. I just see this game, and it's in Pitt, right? That's also an added advantage. It makes me feel better. If it was at Rocky Top, I'd be a little more worried. And I really like it at +7. I don't know how I feel about any other number. Andy, do you have any more insight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Obviously, +7 is a huge difference between even 6.5. So you might want to watch it and wait if you're not seeing 7s right now. If it goes to 6, like, who cares? But if it goes to 7, like, that's a much bigger number. I think in general, people are high on both of these teams this year. I'm actually low on both of them. I think I have season win total unders on both. So no matter who,
those are good plays, Andy.
Thanks, bud. But I'm lower on Tennessee than on Pitt. I also, Danny, you're right. They needed a couple of scores at the end to beat West Virginia, but in general, their offense looked better than I expected it to.
Well, the players are good. The players are good, but there's a problem. The coach.
And I know we were talking about not liking it at 6.5 as much, but I am going to think about putting this in a money line round robin. Possibly the number is going to be 200.
That's not a bad move. That's not a bad move because it's going to be +200. It's like a 50-50 game. So
here's my play, guys. I just figured it out. I'm going to wait for the game to start, and I'm going to hope the coin flip goes to Tennessee, and Tennessee is going to score on the first drive. And as soon as that line moves to 8.5 or 9 with the live number, I'm going to take Pitt +8.5 or 9.
I like that too. Or right before they score too. It'll cross the touchdown right before they score.
You should get over 10.
That's the number I'm looking for because I think it's going to be a 1-score game. But I loved it at 7 when we originally put it in, and now it's at 6. So obviously we're not alone.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. Just look for Pitt plus double digits because you'll probably see that at some point in that game. And I think you're right. I think it'll end up being closer than that.
All right. I think the next play we've got is my play on Memphis at Navy. Memphis is laying 6.5.
I have a chug to give out, right?
Oh, right. Only Al.
I won. No, I won. I had the best record last week.
We did do that last week. Are we doing that every week?
I had the best record last week. I went 5-4. You guys all lost.
I mean, well, I guess if we're not counting footy bets, then I guess you have the best record.
Oh, you're gonna? Okay. We're not counting soccer bets either. Otherwise, I definitely don't have the best record. So.
Who do you want to drink, Danny?
Dude, you bet two military academy games. Take a swig. Take a swig. Drink up. Those are boring ass games, Andy. You're betting some boring ass games. Drink your beer.
Not even betting it the fun way. It's just a degenerate under. He's like laying points. He's rooting for it to get actively worse.
I'm betting against Navy. I bet against USA too. So yeah.
Oh yeah, you bet against America.
Wow.
So
and the military.
Memphis got beat last week by Mississippi State, but Navy lost to Delaware, and Navy only put up 7 points against Delaware. So the number's below a touchdown. It's -6.5. I'm laying it. I think this number should be above 10. So as long as it stays below a touchdown, I'm taking it.
This is like Andy and the transitive property are just like meshing this week. They're saying this team beat this team by this much, and this team lost to this team by that much.
I mean,
that's how college football works, don't you know? Transitive property. If you ask UCF fans, they're always telling us about the transitive property and why they should be.
Don't love being with UCF fans. It's the meanest thing anybody said about me in a long time.
Dude, you bet against America. Are you going to start betting like Russian soccer teams now?
Never. I always bet on the U.S. women.
Those are good bets.
Doing anything else is a sucker's bet.
Lay the points on the U.S. women against when they're playing the CONCACAF games.
Although we don't always cover right now. They almost lost last night. Did you guys see that?
No.
U.S. women played a friendly against Nigeria last night, and they won 2-1, but they needed an own goal from Nigeria to do it. So, not their best.
Well, that brings us a perfect transition to Virginia versus Illinois.
Exactly.
Andy going his anti-homer pick, and I think we all followed you in on it because I think the ACC is underrated. I don't think Virginia's as bad as people think, and I just don't think Illinois is as good as they've been playing. I think that they played too well last week and really should have won that game. Honestly, they should have won that game, and I don't think they're as good. I don't think they're as good as they've been playing. They won the first week, so I just don't think Illinois is going to keep this up, and I think the ACC is underrated. And I think Virginia very often is one of the spoilers in the ACC that. Honestly, I want Virginia to win this game because I know they're going to be one of the teams that like beats Miami, even though we're like undefeated late in the season. So I'd rather them have beat a Big Ten team before they do it.
I think Virginia is probably going to win this game. It's just I don't think Illinois has played the team as good as Virginia. I think regardless of where you put Virginia on the scale of good teams, bad teams, I don't think Illinois is very high on the list. I don't think it's a big jump to pass them. Another play I have on this game also, along with UVA +5, is the under, and it's kind of along the same lines. I don't think it's going to take a lot to get over.
Taking a dog +5 with the under. That's a standard bet. That's a good move.
Yeah,
I like it.
So, Matt, are you in on this one too, or are you sitting it out?
I'm not. I'm going to not watch it, but pretend. I may bet it live. If someone gets out early, I'll probably take the opposite side, right, and just kind of counter bet it. But I don't have a feel.
Go ahead.
I don't have a feel on Virginia, to be honest. I've been impressed with Illinois. They got robbed. They should have won that game. So there may be value in Illinois. And you guys saying this has confused me. So I'm going to just probably refrain.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me about this is the fact that we're pretty much in agreement on it.
It scares you that you agree with me.
Yeah.
Right, so this is the game that'll definitely be on my. This is the game that'll be on my phone as I'm driving home, or my wife is driving me home from the Canes game, because we're very safe.
Safety first.
Safety first. Yeah. So this is a game that'll be on my phone. We'll be watching it. I'll have since the girls are in the car, we'll be listening to Frozen on the radio, and I won't have the audio, but I'll be watching the game and be rooting hard for Illinois to win for you, Andy, by 4.5 or less points.
Yeah. I think just one more thing to add. It seems like this is Andy's transitive property week. For me, it's taking the points with the better quarterback, right? So that's again what I see here. UVA, Brennan Armstrong, he's the better quarterback. He's getting 5 points. I don't care where the game's played. That's the side I want to take.
Brennan Armstrong is on the long line of ACC quarterbacks right now that are pretty good. So that makes a lot of sense. He does have a lot of value at that position.
So one last thing on this. I know we've talked about this game too much already probably, but Al, you were saying you're scared that we're all on the same thing. We do all have the same bet, but my reasoning is a little different than your guys'. I I think apart from quarterback, Illinois actually has the more talented roster. They're bigger in the trenches. They're more physical, right? They're a Big Ten team. That's all pretty standard. But Virginia spanked Illinois last year. It was actually kind of a turning point in their season. They kind of revamped their whole defense and got a lot better after that. But Virginia just absolutely spanked them. And if you watch the Illinois-Indiana game this past Friday night, the refs shot Illinois in the foot by taking away that touchdown. But Illinois also shot themselves repeatedly in the other foot. And Illinois just has this habit of getting in their own way. And until they can show me that they're not going to do that, I'm not betting on them. Certainly not as a favorite. So I'll take the points with the other team.
Andy, I don't know if you remember the text thread from last season of me going back in on Illinois 13 times when Virginia was spanking them last year, but that's another reason I think I have Virginia in this game. I don't want to just be going back in on Illinois as they get down by 17 and 24 points. I must have bet Illinois to come back so many times trying to and they never scored again.
There's one thing to consider here, and I know this is our 7th minute on it. New coach, right, at UVA. That does make a difference. There's no more Bronco Mendenhall, I believe. I think it's Tony Elliott, the guy from Clemson. So there may be a change in scheme, and that may impact Armstrong. I'm kind of curious about taking Illinois on the money line for what it's worth. I think that could be a fun little play. And try to
Virginia on the money line. Virginia on the money line. You're wrong, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Illinois on. Oh, you know what? I haven't paid attention to this game. Honestly, I'm so confused about this game because I don't know what blue and orange. It's going to be like a blend of the same damn jersey. I don't know who to look for. I'm already confused. I'm done.
It was confusing last year. It was.
All right. Let's move on. We got a couple more games to go here. California.
You're not done talking because you got to play on UNLV now.
I may be the only person in the world who's going to make a lot of a game versus Idaho State, but UNLV, who's historically been a doormat, looked great. They looked so much more improved. They have a guy named Ricky White. Ricky White played at Michigan State. They've never had anyone as talented as Ricky White, and that dude looked awesome against Idaho State. And I think they're going to go to sleepy Berkeley this weekend and make it a ball game. Look, Cal has been bad for the past couple of years. Justin Wilcox is regarded as a great coach, a great defensive coach, but that team has been depleted ever since COVID, and I don't see them putting up a ton of fight. There'll be 19 people in the crowd and one hanging on a tree behind the stadium. I just don't think of it Berkeley's not an intimidating home presence. I think this game could be relatively close. I'm going to take the 13 points with UNLV. I'm going to be the only person in the world taking the points on this game, but I think it's worth the risk. I think UNLV may have the most talented player on the field.
Yeah, that's a pretty stinky game.
It smells. It smells.
Don't care.
It's an awful game. Gambling doesn't care, right? It just seems like a good opportunity. I don't think Cal's very good, and I may be tempted to play this at a more alternative line. I don't know if I'm going to go too alternative.
I feel like I'm Jay Cutler at the urinal right now with somebody asking for his autograph. Don't care. That's it.
All right. Well, plus 13-point money line dog may be good.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I certainly respect your salesmanship there, Matt. That sounded fantastic, but I am not going to watch a second of that game.
Oh, I'm not going to either. I'm going to watch it from the Action app as I'm watching every other Tennessee and Pittsburgh.
Watch that green circle and see how it pans out for you. Oh,
I'd rather watch Real Housewives.
What position does Ricky White play, by the way? Is that a quarterback, running back?
Wide receiver. They also have Harrison Bailey as one of their quarterback. I think he's a backup, but he used to play at Tennessee. They got some high-value transfers, and they're trying to do some things, and they're trying to ring the slot machine. I don't know if you saw that. The best.
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was good.
The best touchdown performance, touchdown celebration from week.
Hold on, the UNLV touchdown celebration. Yeah. That was really terrible. But it was one of the better imitations of the turnover chain. So. We got another game here on directional Tennessee versus the wrong Colorado. Who has a pick on this game?
That's me again, and
you just knew that was going to be Andy.
It's a lot of points, right, Andy? That's your reasoning. It's a lot of points.
Well, this was less than a touchdown before the games last week, And then Middle Tennessee went out and got beat by James Madison. They just came up from FCS. It was their very first game above FCS, and James Madison crushed them. And the line moved like 7 points. I think it's a classic overreaction. Middle Tennessee did not look good last week, but Colorado State's not good either. This number is just too big, like Danny said. So like Matt said on his UNLV pick, it's a hold your nose and take the big number play. So.
Speaking of hold your nose games, we have somebody who has a play on Iowa versus Iowa State. I think between these two teams, they might score an Iowa touchdown.
Yeah, I'm taking Iowa State. And to borrow from Andy's transitive property here, you have Iowa State beat SEMO, right? Southeast Missouri State they've hung 42 on them. On the other side, you got Iowa, who played South Dakota State, and they mustered a total of 7 points, as we mentioned before, 1 field goal, 2 safeties, offense getting outscored by the defense. I don't know if Iowa State's going to score 42, but I doubt that Iowa's going to score much more than 7. So give me the points. I basically need an Iowa State touchdown to get there. So
I didn't do a play on this game yet. I didn't do a pick on this game yet, but my plan when I saw the line was let the public overreact to the Iowa touchdown and let the under get down to like 39 points and then bet the over.
How does Kirk Ferentz
betting over an Iowa game? That's dancing with the devil. I love
Iowa State can score, man. Iowa State can score. People think Iowa State's Iowa. They're not. They have a dynamic offense. So
they did. I don't know anything about their offense this year except for that they beat Southeast Missouri State by 42-10 or whatever. So
didn't they win? Like Cordell Stewart went there.
They had a good quarterback last year.
Brock Purdy's good. Right? Matt Campbell's a great coach. I think if there's a coach battle, I know Kirk Ferentz gets paid $1 bajillion every year, and he sucks. And his son is the offensive coordinator, and he sucks.
He sucks way more.
I think it's worthwhile taking the under if you're going to do anything here because it's going to be a real.
It's like 40 points right now. It's going to get to it's going to be an NFL under of bad teams.
Iowa State's another one that I'm considering for money line round robin. You know,
I think it's probably
could easily win this game. That's what I'm pulling for. So Iowa State plus 3.5. That's a good number.
I didn't even see this next game on the docket, but
are we going to Lubbock?
This is an interesting one in Lubbock.
Let's take it to Lubbock. We got some high-scoring offenses. Houston played great last week. We talked about UTSA. Houston was the other side. They were great. Texas Tech put up 63 against Murray State. There's one thing Texas Tech does. They score points. It seems like the most obvious play in the world to me. I'm taking the over 63, and I'm eyeballing the hell out of Houston plus 3 and maybe making that a little money line play because it seems like a more obvious play. Houston's the better team. They're getting the value. The only value is Texas Tech at home. I understand guns up, everything that they're going to be doing in Lubbock, but Houston is the better team, and I think they're going to be able to score at will. Over 63.
I didn't play it, but I agree with everything you said. The next game is a really easy one to discuss. It's Toledo versus UMass, and I always bet against UMass. Move on.
Every week. I'm going to join you at a principle.
Every week you'll see that we'll put up a record somewhere, and one of my W's is I faded UMass.
Another stinky team that I'm eyeballing, and I'm going to take a controversial side. I may take the points with Kansas against West Virginia.
Oh, God.
I may. I'm not promising anything, but I'm kind of intrigued by it. I think this Kansas team is better.
Are they giving them 102 points? Because I don't think 100 would be enough for me to take the points with Kansas.
With Kansas, I got to see it more than once. I got to see it twice.
13.5, I'm not taking it. Never mind.
I found a 14.
I will take the 14.
All right.
Just for the sake of stinkiness, I would love to lay the 28.5 against UMass as well because it's UMass.
Can you guys remind me if Toledo or Tulsa has the good quarterback?
It ain't Tulsa.
I don't think it's either of them. It's Tulane. That's all you're thinking of.
Oh, Tulane. Okay, it's one of them T schools. But Tulane's in Louisiana. I always think of the T schools in the Midwest or the That's not really the Midwest. I don't know where
it's
above Texas. Above Texas.
You're getting there.
It's where the Midwest. First off, that's where the Midwest should be because it's Midwest in the country, not Michigan, which is not the Midwest. That's the North. Anyway, enough about my wife and their family and what they call where they're from.
Speaking of Tulsa, Matt, you've got to play against them there, right?
I'm going to just do a little transitive property. I like this game at 7, but Wyoming looked bad week 0, right? They got beat by Illinois handily. They go out there and beat Tulsa. I'm just betting against Tulsa. I just don't think Tulsa's very good. I think it's worthwhile laying the 6 points. That's it. Nothing more fancy. Nothing fancier than
Tulsa time.
There was a year.
You'd be proud of me. I am taking points in every game except the last one, and it's only laying 1.
Wow, it's like you and I switched bodies this week. I know. So I'm on like 4 favorites.
I'm on the other side of this next one, Andy. I don't like your pick here. I know that you. The only reason I didn't put it up as an official play, and this isn't an official play, but I'm going to bet it, is because I don't want to just like fade Lincoln Riley every week, and I forget the guy's name, Colin or whatever his name is.
Talking with the quarterback?
Yeah.
Caleb.
There it is.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Callum Wills. I was gonna say the Newcastle striker. the Newcastle striker. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to fade him every week. But I really do think Stanford can keep up with basically anybody in the Pac-12 this year. I don't think they're as bad as they were last year.
The total is astronomical in this game.
I think Stanford can score, and I think over a touchdown was enough, and 9 is plenty for me to take.
I get it. This team, look, I love David Shaw. I think he's great at Stanford, and I think he's done amazing things with a team that's hard to get good players at, right? Because it's such a rigorous educational school. That team has sucked over the last 3 years, and I'm waiting for them to rise out from the ashes. What's up?
I said they're back though.
Okay, I haven't watched it. I saw they played Colgate. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, but what criteria are they back? They were 3-9 last year, and then they beat Colgate. Like nothing in there tells me that they're back. I'm actually fading USC this year in general. I think it's going to take some time for Lincoln Riley to get that team where he wants it to be. They did look good against Rice, but that's a mismatch.
3 pick sixes.
Yeah, so I'm fading USC against good teams. Until they prove it, I'm not considering Stanford a good team right now. So I'm laying the 9.
I got a buddy of mine who is a Stanford Connect, says that the over is a lock in this one, and I think it's like 66 or something. It's a big number. So if you like betting overs, consider that one. I'm not on it, but something to keep an eye on, I guess.
USC overs wasn't like a principle we talked about in the week 1 or week 0 pod, because USC can score and they can't play defense. So
yeah.
So would it be worthwhile taking the Stanford team over at that point? I'm like puzzled by this game. I don't know much about Stanford.
Yeah, I don't have a good feel on it.
Yeah, like I said, 3-9 last year, and then they beat Colgate. So I don't see anything that tells me.
Andy, you've got a play on Baylor BYU. I also have a play. We got two different ones. You want to talk about yours first?
Yeah, I don't have a ton on this one, except that I think this should be closer to a touchdown. Both of these teams won last week, but Baylor's win was against an FCS team, while BYU beat USF. I know USF's not great, but it's not FCS. So I think this should be closer to a touchdown. BYU's heading home. They'll have the home field advantage. Basically, this number is saying that this would be a coin flip on a neutral field, and I just don't think that's the case. So I'll take BYU, laying the 3.
I actually have this as my Chuggy bet of the week.
Ooh.
Speaking of Chuggy bets, I'm going to have Danny go ahead and chug a beer just because I like seeing his beard jiggle when he does it. So there you go. Ooh, mountain.
Thanks, Al.
I love it. You're welcome. Chug that baby, and while you're chugging, I'm going to tell you why you should bet the over. I got it at 53.5, so that's what I'm locking in my Chuggy bet over at. These two teams combined for, anyone want to guess how many points last week? 119. 119 points these two teams scored on offense. So you tell me
That's
they
a
only
lot of
got to hit
points.
half that number? If they don't hit
That's
this
a
thing
lot
at
of
halftime, it'll, I might get sweaty. But
How many
I'm
did they
pretty
give up
sure
last week?
One gave up 0, the other gave up 10, maybe. I don't know. But they didn't play anybody except USF. The point is they score a lot of points, and they're going to score a lot of points against each other. And that's what I'm.
I like where your head's at, bud.
My only caution there is Dave Aranda's great at cooking up defenses, and Baylor is going to be good with Dave Aranda as the head coach. But yeah, it sounds right? Provo always loves high scores, and they always get high scores.
Yeah.
All right,
I think
one last
game left for the week, right? And I think it's Matt and Danny on it. Oregon State, Fresno State.
Danny, you want to go?
Hey, you could start.
Look, Fresno State's good. Like people devalue Fresno State. They're going to be a dangerous team, and they're playing a bunch of Pac-12 teams this year. Like, get your highlighter and circle or swipe over that USC Fresno game because I think it's going to be an awesome game to watch. I was impressed with Oregon State last week against Boise. They beat the Bachmeier out of that team, and they dominated the game from start to finish. The thing here is Hayner's good. Fresno State's quarterback is good.
Yep.
They score a lot of points.
That's where I'm at.
So Matto, that's where I'm at on this game. One, you saw last week with my Boise pick why I don't like Oregon State. I don't think they're good. I was betting against Oregon State more than I was betting on Boise. Turns out Boise is worse than Oregon State, but I'm still betting against Oregon State here. But I like Hayner, man. I bet this game because I want to be up at 10:30. I'm going to take a nap after the Canes game. I'm going to wake up late, and I'm going to text you guys, see if you're up, and we're going to live bet this game a little bit. But I'm going to have my bet in already. Fresno -1. I would have laid 6 on this game. I think Hayner's going to put up a bunch of points. I'm going to bet the Fresno team over. I'm going to bet the first half team over. I'm going to bet the first quarter team over. I'm going to be betting Hayner to score points all game.
And I think it comes down to, I think the line is bad because the general public thinks Oregon State and associated with a big conference, and they were good last year. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of talented transfers from all over the country on that offense. People don't know much about
this line's going to get steamed, man. This line's going to get steamed.
And they're going to learn. They're going to learn about that Bulldog game, baby.
No, the Sharps will get in on this, and it's gonna cross 3, I think. I mean, this line's going to get steamed.
Yeah, I think when you look at how Oregon State beat Boise, they had 5 turnovers. So they were, I don't know how many times they turned it over, but you get the ball 5 times from the offense, you're gonna come out ahead 9 times out of 10. Secondly, they kept hitting deep shots, and they weren't particularly good. The guys were wide open. So if you got a secondary that can cover, you've essentially neutralized Oregon State. So don't turn the ball over 5 times and don't give up deep shots, and you should easily be able to take them out. Also, I think Fresno State's in a good spot since a lot of people, I don't know if you guys follow Stanford Steve and Bear, but I think Stanford Steve was lay the points with Fresno State last week no matter what they are, and they didn't cover. So I think there's a little bit of hesitancy to go ahead and back Fresno State, even though I think that's definitely the right side.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys care about this kind of stuff, but the lines actually move the other way against you, with you, depending on how you want to look at it. It's actually +1 now. You can get a point with Fresno State.
Oh, I'm going to take the point. I'm going to take the money line. It doesn't matter. I'm going to bypass the extra juice.
Yeah, right, I think that might be just people looking at the scores last week and saying, "Oh, this seems like Oregon State."
That's the public. That's the public betting early, and the Sharps waiting because they knew the public was going to hit it. It's going to get steamed. Yeah. It's going to get steamed. It's going to move hard in Fresno's direction. It might not hit 3.
I don't know if it'll cross 3, but yeah.
It won't cross 3. That'd be a huge move. If it started at 1, and it would cross it, but if it's already at +1, it's going to go back to the minuses.
Yeah.
All right, so that takes us to the end of the night. Al, I know you already gave us your official Chuggy bet, but can you just reiterate for us what that was?
Yeah, so it's the over in Baylor and BYU. 53.5 is the number I got.
All right, I am taking Army +2.5 as my official Chuggy bet. I mentioned earlier, I think the wrong team is favored there, so taking what I think is the better team with the points. Danny, what do you got for your official Chuggy bet?
I bet the Chelsea coach gets fired this week.
Long odds.
No. Yeah. So that it's been a bad week for my team. I'm gonna do Fresno. I'm gonna do Fresno, man. I think they're gonna cover that easy. Whether it's -1, +1, I got -1 already, so I'll stick with that. But
and then what about you, Matt?
I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna say I didn't say it. I talked about it a little bit. I talked about the over. I'm gonna take Houston +3. I think Houston's gonna win.
Nice.
I don't know
what I'm gonna join you on that game. I'm gonna join you on that game.
Andy, what was yours? Sorry.
Army +2.5.
So we got Army, Houston, Baylor over, and Fresno State.
I know I talk shit about the military academies, but I love Army's quarterback. I've said that both weeks now. He's so fun to watch, man. The dude's an athlete, and he can actually throw the ball out of the option. He's good, man. You should watch that game because you bet on it. It's good. He's good to watch.
And then just to chime in, if you guys are watching any Aussie rules football, went 2-0 on the picks last week, plus the money line win with Sydney. This week I'm on Fremantle plus 11.5. I like the money line, and then Brisbane plus 18.5. I'd also probably consider them money line, but Melbourne's a little bit tougher to beat. So
Sydney's a bye this week, right? Because we won in the first round, and then there is kind of a double elimination. Their finals in Aussie rules are weird, right? So there were playoffs they call finals. So Sydney won in the first round.
Sydney gets the winner of Collingwood Fremantle.
Okay, they get the winning of okay. So we have Fremantle plus 11 is what we're betting.
11.5.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna make sure to get that one. And what was the other side? The favorite on the other side. But the favorite on the other side that got the bye.
Oh, Geelong.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Geelong has the bye, and then the winner of
Brisbane Melbourne plays Geelong.
Brisbane Melbourne will play Geelong, and it's going to be Melbourne is going to win, but hopefully it's by less than 14.5.
18.5.
18.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be 3 goals in a behind. That'd be 3 goals in a behind. That's a lot for a finals game. So.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent, guys. Follow us on TikTok for our Moneyline Underdog Round Robin of the week. We'll have an NFL pod coming here in a little bit. So if
soccer picks come out all the time. We're always watching soccer and giving out picks on TikTok.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and honestly, we appreciate everyone out there. Make sure you ring the bell, subscribe, do everything there. We're on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcast. We appreciate it. And we'll drink more beers every time you guys leave reviews. Every 100 reviews, I'll drink a beer.
I'll drink a beer for everybody. I'll drink a beer for everybody who asks me to drink a beer. Anybody who directly asks me to drink a beer, I will go buy the kind of beer you asked me to drink, and I will drink it. If you comment on one of our things and say, I want you to drink this kind of beer, I will go buy that beer and I will drink it. That is a standing offer.
At the gas station today, so.
All right. Cheers, boys. We'll see you for the NFL show.
Take the boys out, gentlemen. Great review, subscribe.